Money laundering is a topic not much talked about in Papua New Guinea. If we conducted a survey in the streets, for instance, asking what money laundering is, the general response would be that they had no idea. Hi, I'm Festus Maginap. In this edition of Business PNG, we try to understand what money laundering is and the processes involved. Now, to understand what money laundering is, here's a presentation done by Dr. R. Bhaskaran, Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of the Indian Institute of Banking and Finance, at the Risk Management Seminar held in Port Moresby recently.
What is money laundering like? First, illegally obtained money. So you should be clever enough to get some illegal money to start this. Otherwise, me and you may not be there at all. Like illegally obtained money, it has to originate from some source. Like there are countries where the legal system is improper. There are countries where the regulator system is very weak. So it's possible for you to do that. Then this money can come from drug trafficking, terrorism, extortion, corruption, n number of methods money can be obtained. Criminal activity also contributes to illegally obtained money. It is converted through a bank. That is why the banking system becomes very important. Banks are essential, like backbone of an economy. There cannot be a transaction where a bank is not involved, either cash or transfer or check, or a bank has to be involved in 50 to 60% of the one half of the transaction is money. Therefore, for in every transaction, a bank related aspect is involved. So this has to be put through the process of the conversion through a bank as if it appears to originate from a legitimate source. This is in essence money laundering. Like what we do in money laundering is that we conceal the original source and it is sent through different frames and processes for making it legal processes. It's the process used by criminals through which they make dirty money appear clean. Nowadays, it has gone one step further. There are money which is legal, money which is correct, which is being sent through the banking system, and others for encouraging terrorism. So now anti-money laundering has also gone one step further, also known as terrorism funding is one of the major problems that all the countries are facing because it's with the electronic system. It's very easy to transfer money from one another place. For example, your credit card, international credit card can be just mailed to somebody with a PIN code, a PIN so that he is able to draw money, he or she is able to draw money across the world anywhere. Like so, this is the way of funding, the way of system has become very fast thanks to the electronic system that we have in terms of money transfers. Like. The definition is very important. Because every country regulator, every country there has to be money laundering, there has to be a financial institute, the fraud and institutional FIU should be there to find out what exactly is happening. Whoever is directly or indirectly attempts to or assist or knowingly party, it's not necessary you should do it. Your systems, if it enables, without knowing also you are a party to that, all these things leads to money laundering. So this is very, very, very important to understand that this is a much larger problem. Nobody has a real good estimate, but trillions and trillions of dollars are involved in money laundering today. Like, see, money laundering sources are extremely difficult to understand. Somebody may be doing it just for avoiding tax. Somebody is maybe just trying to say, I got a lot of money, I want to reduce my slab rates. Somebody may be trying to do for terrorist funding. So there are any which way it can be done like. What does it refer to? Money laundering generally refers to washing of the proceeds of the profit. One is the drug and human trafficking. Also profit generated from illicit, illegal transfer of arms, antiques, gold, and diamond smuggling. Anybody thinks of Sierra Leone, you immediately know that there is a lot of problems in terms of human relations management there, and we call it blood diamonds. That's one place where the money laundering is at the very highest. Any drug, any mafia, they don't like to pay tax and they like to make more money, and there's a lot of issues regarding this. There are a number of prostitution rings and financial frauds. There are some tax havens and there are places where you can open a bank account and they keep your money there, nobody questions. So these are all financial frauds. Corruption, illegal sale of wildlife products and other specified and predicate offense. Why I put the list? Normal question that arises to the bank is that some of these things go much beyond the scope of banking. This has got nothing to do with banking. Wildlife, no problem. Human trafficking is not an issue for bank, and then why the banks are being asked to be responsible for anti-money laundering and are saying asked to be strengthen the KYC. Only because money laundering of such a large, the problems of such a large extent could not have happened if the banking system is not being used for pumping this money through the system. You cannot travel from one country to another country with a huge amount of cash. When you enter into the customs, by definition, they will say that if you have cash in excess of $5,000 or maybe 20,000 kinas or 10,000 kinas, you must declare to the customs line. There are physical control of transferring animal and animal products. So the government is trying to do that. But what here happens is money moves through the system and encourages this kind of things to happen in the respective countries. This abets the crime. So money laundering is a much, much bigger problem than what we had originally envisaged today. Like it's a large thing. Like.
Do stay with us. More on money laundering right after these short messages. There are different processes involved in money laundering, some of which involve quite a lot of technicality. Let's hear what Dr. Bhaskaran had to say about the processes involved in money laundering.
Some theory part of money laundering I wanted to share today, because I know this is a kind of seminar where we need to discuss and ask more questions, but still I thought some of the fundamentals will be very interesting. Now, there are three processes that I would like to highlight. One is placement, second is layering, and third is integration. Ultimately, what happens? Illicit money through a number of processes gets to do that. Always understand, the person who is criminally inclined is much smarter than a normal person. And we in banking industry try to do everything by defining things. Like, for example, just how I mentioned that when you come to a country, an individual should not carry more than $5,000. Like, a family of 4 people, if they travel together and each one of them carries $4,900, they are still within the rules, but they brought more cash into the country. So any definition that you have, it's possible, because all of us being officials, we monitor the things through definition. So any definition that you do, it's possible to violate and try to do things which you didn't want to do that. So money laundering as a process has evolved over the years, and the regulators and the controls have also evolved over the years. It's not as if we don't know, but always we come to know a thing about after it has happened. That's the best part of life, is that most of us, after 1 or 2 crimes have taken, we try to tighten up. Like, so we have learned a lot of things in money laundering over the last 10 or 15 years. So this presentation covers some of that. Like, we talk about placement, we talk about integration and layering. Let's see what placement is like. You already have illegally obtained money. You would like to put it, so you make a system known as an immersion or case, like the disposal of bulk cash proceeds derived from illegal activity. What do you do that? The placement happens through the banking system. You try to divide the bulk money into number of small pieces and make a number of small persons, then route it, and finally it gets consolidated in a single account. Like a very large number of small remittances through a number of accounts, with further instruction that this number of accounts will go and reach the final account. So what happens? Your money originally was a big money. It went through a number of processes of small numbers. It finally reached in full form. So this is known as the placement and the rest of the system that money launderers do. It is possible because in the past, for you to carry money from one country to another, person has to travel. Now it is enough if you go and approach any money transfer company or somebody and say, I want to transfer $3,000. They accept it without asking for much question, because 5,000 is the threshold limit for that. So placement takes place through layers and it reaches the final goal line. How does money laundering work is a small picture I put. Let's take about $30,000 of drug money. Somebody might have put a condition that less than $10,000 has to be monitored, controlled and reported. So this guy takes $6,000, and maybe the same person or different persons keeps on putting it day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 in the same bank or in different banks. Like, his money that he is placing is not noticed. that he is a money launderer is not noticed because he is able to disperse the money. Therefore, the system that we have for anti-money laundering, whatever we are trying to capture, has to understand that this kind of transaction has to be captured like that. This is where most of the banking system, most of the softwares fail, because softwares have a control number, and after that it gives, this calls for a system beyond the software, some amount of intelligent intervention by the banking system to see that it's not happened. This is kind of taking it to the various layers and trying to push the money to the banking system. You first saw a person doing a number of placements into the banking system and do that. The second way of doing is trying to create a complex set of financial transactions to avoid or to hide the original source of transaction. Like, why do we do that? We don't want them to trace where the original money comes from, who is the originator. Primarily this happens in drug money. Like, the drug lords or the drug people who are buying really indulge in drug sales, they would not like the original source to be identified. So they kind of create small intervening companies and organizations through which the money transfers to the main. So first three layers or first three movements of the money does not show the original, and afterwards it comes into the banking system.
A number of transactions can make money laundering happen. We'll take a look at some of these common transactions in money laundering when we come back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Business PNG. In this segment, Dr. Bhaskaran explains some of the common transactions involved in money laundering.
The second part is having put the money into the legal system, trying to use it for the purposes which support the original activities. Like you see, re-injecting the laundered process into economy so that they enter the financial system as normal business funds provides an apparently legitimate explanation to criminally derived wealth. They are even willing to pay the tax on that. That's the point, that they are willing to pay the tax on the money obtained through corruption and all that, because they ultimately would like to invest in that. Think a number of financial transactions can make it happen. It's not only banking system that is liable. There are a number of transactions through which even insurance policies can be misused, mutual fund investments can be misused, remittances can be misused. Anything can be misused because there are a number of small loopholes into the banking and financial systems which helps the money launderer to put the money. And at the end of the day, the central bank asks you to say firmly that, look, our systems are strong enough, there is no money laundering. How many of you would like to raise their hand saying that there is no money laundering happening in the system? We don't know. It's very difficult for all of us to very firmly get up and say money laundering is not involved. One reason is the banking universe has become globalized. Unlike the past, our systems are completely integrated, linked through technology. It's possible for us, because of the anytime, anywhere, do a transaction sitting anywhere. My card can be operated here. So it's not possible to very firmly say that we are not part of that, unless systematically we have ways of understanding which are the breaches that is happening and how do we control that. We already saw that a person does a number of series of transactions and put into a bank. Then it goes through a number of offshoring accounts. There are a number of small islands and small economies where the systems are very deficient, where they don't ask you who you are, because the fees and other things that they charge is very high. They don't ask you can open an account and see the methods. It can physically come through marine boat and others, because the seashore in any country is not fully controlled. When you come by flight, you have to land in a particular airport, and the airport has good customs and other practices. When you come by the road points can be checked and it can be put. Only seashore does not have as many customs places that we want, because it can come to shore anywhere, drop the things and then go out. So a long seashore is always a question of how do that, and that's one of the most popular methods of doing that. Then you have offshore account, then you have They say euro account, 1 euro. They are all legitimate accounts. You do that, US account. So you can transfer your money through a number of systems and try to bring it into finally and try to make a clean money. What is the advantage? Advantage is that what money could not be spent has been brought into the system. And we can argue that originally he was having dirty money, he was not paying tax. Now it has become clean money, he is paying tax. Why should you object? Like? But for the fact the sources obtained are against the society. Like a drug person, when he converts the money into clean money, he is paying tax. But the source is so injurious to the society that tax becomes secondary in that kind of aspects. So some cases, the source we have to identify and stop that kind of things happening because it is hurting the society, particularly the drug, human trafficking and all that are completely anti-society. Any society we live in, they are not in the support of the society, so we must ensure that we stop it and do that. He is interested in trying to become legal, so he would like to have a good presence, he would like to be respected by the society, he would like to be seen as a business person, but basic transaction is not clean. Therefore, money laundering becomes a problem. Even though while becoming a clean money, the tax. Original approach to us was all of us are only focused on tax. Is avoidance an issue? Today the money laundering goes much beyond tax because the original activity is not in the interest of society.
Join me after the break for an insight into Papua New Guinea's stand with regard to money laundering. Welcome back, viewers, to Business PNG. According to research, Papua New Guinea is not considered a major financial center. It has a relatively stable banking system closely integrated with the financial systems of Australia and New Zealand. But this doesn't mean that we are immune from the issue of money laundering.
Customer acceptance policy has to be, if you have proper ID, residential ID, proper identification and residential identification, your account should be opened. Your account cannot be opened with cash, it has to be opened with some other means of transaction. All those things has to be very well laid down as far as customer acceptance policy is there. Identification, customer profiling, and classifying the customer as a risk. Tell the customer you are a high risk customer, that's not it is, but customer should be, if he is going to have a lot of transaction, he has to be monitored, so you put him under a high risk kind of thing. So risk classification of the customer is very important, and reporting transaction. You see, what I started as a small, very theoretical thing has become a very, very practical thing as you try to put all these things through this. In the past, you might have taken about 10 minutes to open an account. Now it's going to take you 1 hour to complete all the processes. So we need systems, we need procedures, we need documents, we need outsourced people to understand and make this happen. So KYC becomes very important if you are working in a very large branch. One thing is very important is appropriate capacity building among the staff to understand the importance of KYC and anti-money laundering. There are countries where everybody is forced to pass an anti-money laundering examination so that everybody can say, okay, I'm fully aware of that. Capacity building among all the stuff. This is one thing not confined to board, not confined to chief risk officer or money laundering officer. This has to go right from top to bottom. Everybody should be aware of this because even a small mistake can cause a big problem for us. AML practices, observing good rules of business, customer due diligence, appropriate legislations, regulatory guidelines and control, board policy systems. Whatever I have given in the red color are policies and procedures to be done by the, for example, BPNG and the board of the bank to see that the systems are there. Whatever is given in the green are the day-to-day activities that has to be imbibed as a system within the branches, like you must have a customer due diligence, observing good rules of business. That's what I previously said. You should not be intrusive in asking for the KYC, like compliance with laws, identifying irregular suspicion. Money laundering is a system which is being done by all the countries together. Together the countries have arrived at something like 39 basic compliances and 9 special compliances. Overall, for PNG is concerned, banking system, the money laundering procedures have been well implemented, but actual process of implementation is, as far as the rules are concerned, they are in position. Actual process is much, much delayed. Outside this, business houses complying to money laundering is not satisfactory. There are a number of business houses which have possibility of this kind of risks, but which has not been fully controlled. So there is a need for the regulators and the other company regulators and others to sit together and this thing, the sharing of information, audit trails, reports of suspicious transaction financing.
Well, viewers, thanks for joining me in this edition of Business PNG. Do tune in next Tuesday at the same time for another episode. If you've got any comments you'd like to share with us, do send them through to businesspng@mtv.com.pg. Until the next time, I'm Festus Maiganap. Please and view.